Hello and good evening and welcome to this webinar on root cause analysis. As a reminder to our approach, I have summarized my almost 30 years of project management experience into 6 principles, provided that a competent project management is on board. Our today's webinar deals with root cause identification. And when we speak about root cause identification, it coincides mostly with the first principle, which has to do with inputs to project management. Also, it interacts with management as well as okay, so it mainly affects our first two principles, and we are going just to review root cause analysis and how they interact with our first two principles briefly today. So a quick reminder, management, according to my interpretation of management, is divided into administration and leadership, where administration has to do with the management system, and leadership has to do with communication, emotional intelligence to facilitate and influence our human resources. So our study or investigation to reach root cause analysis the root cause of incidents is in management, and it goes all the way up to senior and top management. And in order to make it more politically acceptable, we always replace senior and top management with the management system. So we carry out investigations until we reach the project management system. So what's a problem? A problem is a deviation. So we investigate problems to understand the root cause of problems in order to prevent their reoccurrence. So what's a problem? A problem is a deviation from a defined target. Target may be either defined by customer or mutually agreed upon. Problem may not be present at the beginning of product development life cycle. It can occur at any phase. So we have a sudden deviation, we have a gradual deviation, and we have a deviation from the very get-go. We have a faulty system from the very get-go. So we have different types of problems. So what kind of fields most famous for such problems? Safety, quality, functional impact to the customer, installation, product usage or first handover issues, unsolved repetitive issues more than 3 times in 3 months. For example, you buy a new car and you find a fault, you take it to the dealership, they repair it, it occurs third time in less than 3 months. So it is a field, it is a problem that needs to be investigated. And of course, production interruptions and everything that affects productivity and quality in general. The broader sense and the broader meaning of productivity and quality is the question that we are addressing in today's webinar. So, deeming, one of the forefathers of quality, the art and science of quality, states 85% of the reasons for failure are deficiencies in the system and process rather than the employee. The role of management is to change the process rather than badgering individuals to do better. So the culture of blame and pointing fingers and trying to find somebody responsible and asking the question who's responsible and trying to discipline somebody, this is a very wrong approach assumed by management, because according to deeming, management are responsible, not the employees. However, deeming also corrected it and changed it from management to systems and processes. And like we have already stated in today's webinar, that we refer to the management system as a replacement of senior and top management when we are investigating for root causes. So we need to have a documented management system in place. For projects, we have project plans that are coincidental with the different knowledge areas according to PMI's taxonomy. So we at least need for a project all the plans to be in place. We need a project charter to be in place. We need an HSSE health, safety, security, and environmental protection plan. And we need, most importantly, of course, a team charter. So what are the knowledge areas for which we should have corresponding plans? We should have a scope management plan. We should have a schedule management plan. We should have a cost management plan, a quality management plan, a resource management plan, communication management plan, risk management plan, procurement management plan, stakeholder management plan. So these plans, together with a project charter, a team charter, and an HSSE plan, could be considered a basis for the project management system. And whenever we have a problem or a failure as with regards or relevant to any of our plans, we should carry out investigation until we identify the root cause, which should have some kind of direct impact on changing the way we do things, that is, changes the corresponding plan or plans. Okay, so what if I have a project management office? If I have a project management office, it is the responsibility of the project management office to provide a more comprehensive project management system in line with PMI, like for a backbone, which is my recommendation, always to use PMI's methodology as a backbone. And of course, PMI could benefit from Prince2, and most importantly, PMI would definitely benefit from ISO 21500, the entire series of 21,500 project management series. And this really justifies and necessitates why organizations should have a project management office in place. So we have our 21,500 series. It was first issued in 2012, published, and it is still evolving because, again, we have discussed this through our different webinars, that the whole science and art of project management is considered a very new field of knowledge. The concepts are applied thousands of years ago. For example, when you take a look at the pyramids and how it's built, you cannot build such a major project without project management. So there was project management. Also, before the First World War, there was a modern project management documented, and it was taught in many academic institutions. However, it is during the 80s of the previous century that we have found a new need for project management, which resulted in a huge focus on the art of project management. So it is more or less than 50 years old. So it is a pretty recent and new field of management. So again, I strongly recommend when building a PMO to use to establish it using PMI's PM Book 7th edition, and of course, where necessary, enforce it and enhance it using the ISO 21500 series and Prince2 and the many other, or whatever comes, even newer methods of project management. So we need to understand that project management is multi-layered. So for example, we have a work package leader level. We have a project manager level. We have a project sponsor level, and we have a sponsoring organization level. So this will bring us to this slide. When I have a problem that I am investigating, I need to understand, is it a product specific problem, or is it a process specific problem, or which is a more top level? Process is more top level to product is subset of process, or is it a systemic? Is it a global problem? I need to understand, and accordingly I have to address the problem until I found the root cause which interacts or impacts the relevant project management system element. So here I have to understand when I say it's systemic, it means it's a top level. We're talking about a sponsoring organization problem. When we talk about a process, we are speaking about project sponsor and project manager level. When we are speaking about a product problem, we are speaking about a work package leader and project manager somewhere here level. So investigating problems and providing corrective action and preventive action resolutions is the pinnacle of all management. In my humble opinion, of course, it is the jewel of the crown of all management. It is the gold mine. Through effective management of findings, we achieve continuous improvement. And continuous improvement is the gold mine. Savings in money, savings in reputation, savings in quality, savings in image can result from effective investigation management. And for an investigation to become effective, it has to reach the root cause of problems. Okay. So intention should my understanding and intention with regards to carrying out incident investigations and root cause analysis identification of root causes through root cause analysis should be an update to the management system to prevent reoccurrence. Also, I need to capture and circulate the new acquired knowledge so other peoples can benefit and learn from my mistakes, and we impact accordingly a positive impact on the improvement of the knowledge base of the relevant field of science globally. So I need to investigate what went wrong before the incident, during the incident, and after the incident. So if I am a very, very, very good investigator, I should not be investigating the incident itself. I should be using the incident as a starting point to investigate the entire company, system level, process level, and product level. So with such understanding and conducting a thorough enough investigation and deducting factual and realistic root causes, as well as, of course, suggest suitable resolutions for the revealed root causes, will be the strongest asset in any organization. And if I may repeat myself, it is actually exploiting the gold mine. So why do we determine the root cause? We have a very common analogy, which we say, like, if we have a fever, is a fever a symptom or a disease? So if I say the root cause is, for example, fever, then I am mistaken. But it could be maybe an infected wound. So if I keep on trying to fix the fever, it will never be fixed. But if I understand the reason why we have a fever and I start to treat the underlying reason, then I have a better chance for uh, curing the disease, and of course the symptoms will go away. Okay, also I need to weed out things that hinders my potential realization. If I am an organization, I want to reach my highest levels of potential realization, I need to eliminate all the weeds or blocks that stops me. So this is why I have to investigate all levels. Even if the incident itself is on a product level, I can use the incident to look into diverse aspects of the process, as well as diverse aspects of the system. And here, when I speak about the system, I need also to make it very clear that big organizations have different management system levels. So we have a management system for project level, we have a management system for product level, and we have a management system for system level. So when I am conducting my investigation, I need to update all levels, not because if we go back to Deming, what really Deming is saying is, when you have an incident here at this level, 85% of the causes are here. So if I am investigating a product level incident, at the very minimum, I have to update the management system of product level as well as the management system of process level. But again, if here 85% of the problem here was caused here, so the cause becomes a problem at this level. And if I investigate enough, I will find that 85% of the reason why this management system failed lies at the system level. So to really consider my incident management effective, I have to reach the root cause at every level of my management system and improve each and every level of my management system. So why do we do root cause? Why do we determine root causes? To prevent problems from reoccurring, to reduce possible injury to personnel, to reduce rework and scrap, to increase competitiveness, to promote happy customers and employees, and ultimately reduce cost and save money, which is exploit the gold mine. So again, when we talk about root causes, we need to look beyond the obvious, like we've just stated, fever and infected wound. The obvious is the fever, however, the underlying cause is the infected wound. So invariably, the root cause of a problem is not the initial reaction. It is not just restating the finding or symptoms. So often, the stated root cause is the quick but incorrect answer. For example, a normal response is equipment failure, human error. Initial response is usually the symptom, not the root cause of the problem. This is why root cause analysis is a very useful and productive tool. So most times, root cause turns out to be much more, such as process or program failure identification, system or organization failure identification, or poorly written work instructions identifications, or lack of training identification. Okay, so we have some best practices that organizations should be adopting. But what really happens is senior leadership often depend on and support these processes in times of crisis. For example, Lean and Six Sigma and Taproot. An organization will have a catastrophic failure, then they will start to hire consultants and start to adopt Lean and Six Sigma just to say after the incident we did this and we did that and just to talk about it, but they really don't appreciate or respect such systems. So such systems actually work on two levels. The first level is reactive improvement, which results from investigations of incidents that happen. But the most important level, which is like if we have a gold mine resulting from reactive improvement, we have a diamond mine that should be realized from proactive performance improvement. And we do the same investigative techniques of incidents to reach the root cause of findings before they become incidents or accidents when we carry out audits and inspections. So we should not wait to have our Lean and Six Sigma and Taproot and other methodologies of performance improvement on board until we have an incident, just like we say, just to cover ourselves. No, we need to have them today. We need to have them now to perform proactive improvement and actually prevent incidents from happening from the get-go. If we go back here, here I have from the very beginning a problem. And I will only discover it when it has an impact. Because I did not detect it. All this time I have a problem and I ignored it or did not detect it. But if I have consultants on board, I will detect it early. Here, when I had a gradual deterioration in performance, the deterioration in performance started here, but I only detected it here. All this time I did not detect. I have only detected it when it became a major nuisance. So if I have consultants on board, I will have early detection of problems. Again, when I take a look at a sudden problem, nothing in reality is sudden. There have been many signs that a major problem is going to happen soon, and they were overlooked or not even seen at all because designated consultants responsible for performance excellence and performance improvement are not on board. So it's very important to understand that having professionals who are always looking out for performance with regards to the bigger sense of productivity and quality, and investigating the root causes on a continuous manner to have continuous improvement in order to realize our highest potential as organizations. So we have a focus of cost. Management focuses on cycle time, schedule, material cost, direct labor, audits, and investigations. However, they need to focus on warranty, preventive maintenance, late fees, HR and safety cases and costs, EPA fines and penalties, unplanned material, rework labor, indirect costs, cost avoidance. So as a performance excellence consultant, I am looking very deeply into all these fields to pick and notice the earliest signs and start to investigate the earliest signs before they actually have an impact. Like we said, we have different types of quality related problems. Potential problems are or potential problems, which are classified in 3 categories: systemic problems, process problems, as well as product problems. So types of problems, product problems have the following characteristics. They are specification related, customer satisfaction related. And if we go back to our very beginning, here when we speak about information and the basic inputs to our projects, specification is part of information. So here we need to start to see, when we speak about systemic problems, process problems, and product problems, we need to see how they or where they fall with regards to the first principle and the second principle. So again, if Dr. Akram's 6 principles to work for effective project management, not only a competent project manager need to be on board, the competent project manager need to be on the continuous lookout for risk identification and risk mitigation or correction, even of incidents unfortunately happens and takes place, with regards to all the 6 principles. So the health of the 6 principles should be a continuous concern for the competent project manager. So we have process problems, and they have the following characteristics. They are equipment related, they are material related, methods related, environment related, and again, method is repeated here. So what about systemic problems? Systemic problems have the following characteristics. They are recurring problems that seem to elude solutions. Solutions to this group of problems tend to create other problems, which we can refer to as compound problems, and they tend to come and go. Also, they impact more than one place. When I have a systemic or a global problem, for example, it's not a very good example because I'll be pointing fingers, but it's just for the sake of illustrations. But this should not be what we do in real life. But let's say I have a bad manager, because like we said in our presumption here, we do not consider people. We consider the management system itself. But for ease of illustrations, and actually happens in real life, let's say we have a certain manager who's not competent. So every investigation I carry out, even though it does not point at such manager, but it's part of his span of control. And no matter how much we update the management system for which is relevant to the span of control of this manager, there is no improvement. So sometimes we have real problems such as these. So inside the function that this manager is responsible for, we have a systemic and we have a global root cause of all problems that has not been identified or revealed. So when we speak about systemic problem, it means that a systemic problem that we need to find its root cause. Many times different investigations on different incidents will coincide and point to the same systemic problem. So a systemic problem will not only cause one type or one kind of incidents and problems, no, it will be global. We have a big problem at the system level. We have a defect at the very top of our hierarchy. So such a top level defect will have multiple defects at the layers, within the layers beneath it. So we have to understand very clearly, again, when we are investigating an incident, we should have a very keen eye to look for systemic problems, because systemic problems, like we are using the analogy of gold mine and diamonds mine, the gold mine and the real gold mine lies inside systemic problems. So when I find a systemic problem and I fix it, then I will have a very, very big improvement. So how does root cause analysis informs CAPA, which is corrective action and preventive action? The objective of carrying out a root cause analysis investigation is to reach a corrective action and a preventive action for the root cause. So CAPA stands for corrective and preventive actions. If the root cause is the subject, the CAPA is the verb or action phrase. So the root cause is why the issue is happening, while the CAPA represents what will be done to address it and prevent it from happening. So when I am on the lookout for the root cause, I am actually doing problem solving. So in order to succeed in problem solving, I have to follow a certain model. And of course, I have to use consultants or designated personnel who work for the company who are responsible for performance improvement. So what Albert Einstein says, he says problems that exist in the world cannot be solved by the level of thinking that created them. So we need to have different people or a different level of thinking. And of course, it's best to have both. So we need to have some new eyes added to the team, which are our experienced excellence consultants. And we need to have a new way of thinking. So in order to have a new way of thinking, we need a model. So we have an 8D problem solving model, which says team creation, which says team D1, team creation, D2 describes a problem, D3 immediate corrective action, D4 root cause analysis, root 5 corrective action for the root cause, and D6 is verify corrective action. Do a check to make sure that the root cause identified was the real root cause, as well as the suggested corrective action is an effective corrective action. And prevent reoccurrence is D7, and D8 is lessons learned. It's very important to know here there is a D0. D0 is plan, because we have our rule which says failing to plan is planning to fail. So we need to use an ED problem solving model, and we need to plan. So it's not just team creation, it's team creation and planning. You need to have a plan before you proceed. And if I think of a problem solving as a project, so I need to have a project charter. So a project charter for such an effort will guide and direct whatever comes next in the right pathway. So I will need a project charter for root cause identification. So I need first of all, D2 is describe the problem, and D4 is root cause analysis. So the problem definition in itself has got tools. The most important tool used for describing the problem is 5W plus 2H. And 5W plus 2H are questions which are so problem definition, we use 5W plus 2H, which are the questions of what, why, when, who, where, plus how and how many. So I start to describe the problem using a systematic approach by answering the questions of what, why, when, who, where, how, and how many. Here an example: who is affected, what type of problem is it, why is it a problem, what was the problem, where was the problem observed, when was the problem first noted, how did the problem occur, how often does the problem occur. These are examples of how to use 5W plus 2H. So we have a D2 checklist. Now we go to root cause analysis. And for root cause analysis, the most important tool is The most important tool is using 5 whys. And what we mean by 5 whys, it could be 10 whys. Ask the question why. For each and every question answered in my problem statement, I start to create a list of why. And for each answer, for each why question, I start to create a new list of why. And I start to do this over and over many levels. Whenever I get an answer, I ask why. I get another answer, again I ask why. I get another answer, I ask why. So I keep asking why until I reach the root cause. And what we mean by reaching the root cause is finding where the top level and where the system has failed us. And we need to improve our system, we need to improve our processes, and we need to improve our products in order to really say that we have an effective incidents management system. So, for example, 5 whys, we have the vehicle will not start. This is the problem. So we have why. The answer is the battery is dead. So why the answer is dead? So we get the alternator is not functioning. So my second why is why the alternator is not functioning, because the alternator belt has been broken. So why is the alternator belt broken? So because the alternator belt was well beyond its useful service life and was not replaced in time. So why it was not replaced in time? Because the vehicle was not maintained according to the recommended service schedule. So here he says why is a root cause and fifth, but it's not accurate. Actually, I can ask why the vehicle was not maintained according to the book. Because management is not approving costs for maintenance. So why is management not approving costs for maintenance? Because we don't have sufficient funds. Why we do not have sufficient funds? Because we have declined sales. So I can go on and on and on with my whys until I reach a satisfactory point that this is the root cause of my problem, the mother of all evils. So I need to really pursue my whys, not just 5, but we call it 5 whys, but it's not 5. It's never 5, it's never 1, it's never 2. I keep asking why until I am satisfied. Another very important tool is using an Ishikawa diagram or 5M method or whatever you call it. And here I will start to identify patterns and trends. Once I identified the patterns and trends, I will start to ask why. I will use my 5 whys on whatever the Ishikawa diagram reveals to my citing. So my D4 root cause analysis checklist is why did the problem occur? Have all sources of information been considered in determining the root cause? Why was the problem not detected? Very important question. Have the technical non-detection and systemic root cause been verified? Is there a provable connection between the problem and a particular process? So here is what I've already mentioned, is we should combine 5 whys with cause and effect diagrams. The 5 whys can be used individually or as a part of the cause and effect diagram. The cause and effect diagram helps you explore all potential or real causes that result in a single defect or failure. Once all inputs are established on the fishbone, you can use the 5 whys technique to drill down to the root causes. So we need to understand that when we speak about an incident, and here we'll just use safety. And why we use safety? Just to illustrate, but all problems are the same. We think of all problems, safety or otherwise, from the point of view of quality management. So from the point of view of quality management, they are all the same. It's a failure in our system. But let's just to understand that failures are complex and they do not happen from a simple reason, and it's a simple effort to reach the root cause. It's never that easy, and it's never really one root cause. It's usually a combination of root causes that take place for an incident to happen. So I have for a safety that would cause harm to an individual or a person, I have controls and defenses that protect this individual. And the hazard, for example, if I have a grinding wheel or a belt, I have a guard around it to protect the humans. And at the same time, I have another controls to protect the human by, for example, science and education. So in order for the human to get hurt, defenses that protects the human has to fail, and barriers around the hazard itself has to fail. So if I have a big chemical container and I have a procedure and I have clearly identified potential places where a hazardous chemical may be released and humans should avoid such locations. So in order to have a chemical spill and at the same time cause burns or severe injury to an individual, both defenses have to be failed and protective barriers have to be failed. So the target I am protecting will have a failure. Here I have an intact barrier, so he stops here. So the hazard stops here and the target stops here. So if I have a breakage here, the hazard will continue. And if I have at the same time breakage here, the target will continue. And when they meet, an incident event will take place. So again, just to like we said, we use 8D because it's a systemic approach. We also use another systemic approach, which we call it tripod. And tripod here summarizes what we have been saying. We say top level and decision makers, they have a layer. So here, for example, in order to have such failure at this level and a failure here at this level, this is never one barrier. No, I have here many barriers. So not only one barrier will fail, and a lot of barriers have to fail in order for the incident to take place. So what kind of barriers that need to fail? We have barriers related to decisions of top and senior manager. We have barriers related to decisions of line managers, designers, and planners. We have failure due to decisions taken by line managers and supervisors, decisions or omissions. And of course, we have failures due to decisions or omissions by operators and maintenance crew in order to have an accident. So all layers have to fail in order to have an accident. Why this is important for me when I am conducting a root cause analysis? Because understanding what happened and why enables us to improve our business operations. So here you just have to, okay, so here we have two different times, one which is an active stage, which is very close in time to the incident, and we have a latent stage which happened long time or at a longer time before the incident. For example, we refer here to it as our safety culture. And here we have a management safety, which resulted in poor safety culture. We have a line management resulted in poor safety culture. And we have a line management, again, which resulted in poor safety culture. So management had fallible decisions and resulted in latent failures, which resulted in preconditions or unsafe conditions. And closer to the time of incident, we had an unsafe act by somebody and resulted in breach to our final defenses, and an incident took place. So when I am investigating for root causes, I should trace back all the way, because here is the root cause. If this decision, like we said, it's 85%. So 85% of this problem happened here. And 85% for why this poor decision was taken here is here. And 85% is here, and 85% is here, and it goes on and it continues on. So by this slide, we have come to the end of our presentation and our webinar for today. I thank you very much for your attendance and wish you a very, very pleasant evening and a good night.